All right. All right, we are here today for the first budget committee for the fiscal year 2027 budget. So thank you for joining. I appreciate that you guys were all able to make it. I'm gonna get my little cheat sheet. Because it's the first meeting, I hereby call this first meeting of the Hood River County Transportation District Budget Committee to order at 5:02 p.m. Tia, can you please take roll call?
Yes. Leanne. Here. Cindy. Here. Excuse me. Bo.
Here.
Jeremy. Matt.
Here.
Tamara.
Here.
And Jim.
Here.
And I see that we have a member of the public, Sven Carlson. I'm sure that's documented. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and the second agenda item. So election of the budget committee chair. So again, thank you all for being here. At this time, we need to elect a committee member to serve as the budget committee chair. Does anyone have a nomination that they would like to make? Can I get a motion?
I would like to nominate Cindy.
Okay.
Last year's good turn.
I see her occasionally at the art center, and it's been mentioned. The turnabout. I'm fine to do it.
A second motion.
Wonderful. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye, if you didn't hear me.
Wonderful. I heard you. Thanks, Tamara.
Okay.
And anyone opposed? No. Great. Okay, I will go ahead and get started on my favorite part of these is the reading of the budget message. We did make a couple of changes this year, and I will highlight it as I go through. But of course, feel free to ask any questions, or if you want to wait till the end, either option works.
I'd say either one is okay. Sometimes I need to ask the question when you're there.
Yeah, I think go ahead and go for it.
Okay, thanks.
Just raise your hand. And then Tamara, since you're kind of behind me, I can't see you as well.
I'll watch for her.
Okay, perfect. Appreciate it. And then also I'm going to give this to you. So your cheat sheet for the rest of the meeting after we're done. Okay, so purpose of the budget in compliance with the state of Oregon local budget law, the 2026-2027 fiscal year 27 budget beginning July 1st, 2026 and ending June 30th, 2027 for the Hood River County Transportation District, does business as Columbia Area Transit or CAT, is submitted to the Budget Committee for approval. As prepared and submitted, the annual budget is intended to serve as a financial plan for the board's goals for the coming fiscal year. To that end, the budget should outline the forecasted expenditure requirements to meet those goals and propose means for financing these requirements. Provide a financial overview of the use and deployment of personnel, materials and services, and capital for administrative and operating expenditures during the fiscal year. Offer guidance to the board and the district on overall operational priorities and expenditures. The district's budget is prepared on the cash basis of accounting. So accomplishments of fiscal year 2026. During fiscal year 2026, the district made significant progress toward achieving board goals to enhance local services and maintain and expand access for residents and visitors in other gorge communities, as well as the Portland metropolitan area. So key outcomes included the 4-agency Gorge Transit Pass is in its 5th year. Gorge TransLink providers continue to work together to improve rider experience and operational efficiencies. We contracted with Skamania County, City of Stevenson, and the U.S. Forest Service to provide the Dog Mountain Shuttle for the 6th year. Provided the Gorge to Mountain Express service in-house for the 5th year. Partnered with the City of Hood River on the Downtown Employee Pass program for the 5th year. And a new IGA was executed to continue the program for 3 more years. And that program has been expanded. 2 new cutaways and 1 new modified transit van were purchased and placed into operation. These vehicles should reduce required repairs and expenses, in addition to being more fuel efficient. 2 new 35 to 50-foot vehicles that can be used on the Columbia Gorge Express and seasonal services are expected to be purchased and placed into operation before June 30th, 2026. I'm going to highlight that one a little bit as we will come back to that for more discussion a little later.
Just Amy, just so you're aware, because there's such big swings between these last 3 years, I know a lot of that has to do with vehicles.
Yes.
So if you could just walk us through that at the right time.
While we're here then, could you tell me what cutaways are?
Yes, so the cutaways are
That's what I like, man.
It's a chop shop.
Right,
it,
right.
it is literally a chop chop. It's a Ford 450 chassis with a transit body put on it. So and I'm happy to show you one of them when we're done. But we have the smaller minivan and a transit van, and then the purple ones that you see a lot in town, that's a cutaway.
Okay.
So they're like kind of square and boxy.
Got it. Yeah.
We worked with the Forest Service, ODOT, and other partners to ensure the success of Multnomah Falls ID4 permit program and continuation of the program in summer of 2026. Gorge Transit Connect, our low-income fare program, has expanded to new partner organizations and continues to go strong. This was a big one, we released a request for proposal for a consultant to complete the planning, design, and construction as funding allows for the CAT Transit Facility Development Program. And that includes the redevelopment of the bus barn and maintenance, the redevelopment of the current park and ride into a bus barn and maintenance facility, the development of the lot across the street into a new park and ride, and the interregional transit hub at port property near Lot 1 in the waterfront area. And as part of that, we've also have an IGA with the port that we completed this year. That allows us to do that.
That location is near the existing bathrooms.
It has not been
Determined.
determined quite yet, but it's gonna be on the edge of Lot 1 on First Street.
North edge of Law.
East edge.
Oh, okay.
East
Um,
edge or,
yeah, at the east edge of Lot 1, because
okay,
that's First Street.
yeah, that's
That
First
goes
Street.
down.
Yeah.
So it's
And at the south end,
it
closer to.
we
the
haven't
I-84.
decided that yet. It'll be between Riverside
Mhm.
and oh gosh, is it Portway? I believe it's Portway.
Whatever that road is.
Yeah, those two roads. It'll be between there.
Right, okay.
Mhm.
Well, that's all of lot 1.
Yeah, but it'll
Yeah,
be
it'd be part of this,
Yeah.
a part of it.
it'll be on the edge, but the very clear it's on the waterfront area. It's not necessarily Lot 1.
Okay. I think,
Fine distinction that is lost on us, but that's
Yes.
okay.
We've been asked to be very careful of how we describe that, make sure it's the waterfront area near Lot 1. All right, we've transitioned the Upper Valley deviated fixed route into a fixed route, which was another big one. Increase the efficiency of the Hood River City route by adding bus stops at strategic locations to reduce the need for flag stops, and relocated bus stops that were in parking lots, so reducing some safety risk there. And then we implemented and improved dispatch and vehicle maintenance tracking software too. So overall economic outlook for the Hood River County Transportation District is good if current funding sources remain stable and the Iran war does not exponentially increase fuel, materials, and service costs for a sustained amount of time. The district is cautiously optimistic that current funding streams and awarded federal grants will not be impacted by federal and state government uncertainty long term. This upcoming year will be the second year of the 2027 biennium. This year, the district will continue using federal 5311 formula funds to fund the Hood River City, Upper Valley, and Dial Ride services while leveraging statewide transportation improvement funds, formula funds specifically, to pay for match requirements. This will allow the district to use local funds, property and transit tax revenues to match capital grants and ensure the reserve and contingency balances remain healthy to protect the district from delays and reimbursements for federal grants. Board goals for fiscal year 2027. So we have outlined the following goals for the fiscal year 2027 budget. First one is obviously maintain current service levels for year-round services, the Gorge to Mountain Express and Dog Mountain Shuttle. update bus stop signage and install permanent bus stop infrastructure on the Hood River City route. Add a bus stop to the Columbia Gorge Express service in Cascade Locks at Forest Lane and Wanapa Street. Continue implementation of the Hood River County Transportation District Transit Master Plan, update 2023, and the Coordinated Transportation Plan 2024. Continue and grow the multi-provider Gorge Transit Pass program and support the regional transit strategy with the goal of improved connectivity throughout the gorge. Complete a fare assessment of the Gorge Transit Pass and one-way fares and discuss a potential increase. Continue improvement of the driver training programs. Begin planning, design, and construction as funding allows of the CAT Transit Facility Development Program, which again involves those 3 projects that I was discussing. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was at.
Continue to expand outreach to vulnerable communities, Latino, Native American seniors, individuals with disabilities, to ensure access and awareness of transit. Ensure website and promotional materials are in plain language and have an accessible user interface. Continue to explore innovative options and implement solutions to address specific transportation needs, such as local NEMT and door-through-door and after-hour hotel, bar, restaurant, and shuttle.
Did you have to look up that word? I had to look up
Yeah.
that word. See,
So
I just
not
noticed.
emergency medical.
I did
Yep,
too.
it's sorry about
I
that.
had no idea what that meant.
And
That
door
is
through
a
door.
good
Yeah.
note.
Non-emergency medical transportation or transport, one or the other.
I think it's transportation, but
And it's
yes,
paid for through Medicaid and OHP.
correct.
Yeah, I
You
learned something new.
You did do your diligence. Thank you.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Because we're the we don't know, we're the non-lingo
Yeah.
people, I guess.
You don't have to go to the monthly meetings.
Well, and to be fair, this has been kind of an ongoing things that we have tried to solve, and we haven't quite figured out how we can potentially help with those concerns.
Uh-huh.
But I keep it on there every year to
Okay.
hope that something will
Okay.
pop up.
An ever-growing glossary.
Evergreen.
Right?
Wait,
I had another one.
Procure new vehicles for local and regional services and maintain the existing fleet. Continue to leverage technology to improve oversight of operations and reduce the inefficiencies. Okay. Any questions on those?
What is door through door?
So door through door, it's so right now all of our demand response services are dial-a-ride. It's curb to curb. And we don't go through the door. So there are writers out there who could use the additional assistance of getting help from a door to through the next door at their destination.
Okay.
And that's something that we don't provide right now.
Yeah.
Due to lots of different issues, but yes.
That second bullet, permanent bus stop infrastructure, is that like shelters or?
Yes,
Okay.
it is. So as you can see around town, we have a lot of temporary signage at our bus stops. And I am reminded daily of how that can inhibit transit usage for elderly individuals with disabilities or just people who can't stand for a long period of time when they're waiting for a bus. It signals permanence when there's a permanent infrastructure rather than just a sign that can be moved. So it's actually a pretty big task, but we're getting a little closer to getting those. And
See that, I think it's 6th and Cascade or 5th and Cascade a lot. Somebody is
5th and
leaning
Cascade.
against the sign.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. And it does look uncomfortable for them.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
I get
does.
it.
Just Saturday, a young kid asked from near the library, "Where's the bus stop?" And
Yeah.
of course, it was right down there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And he goes, "When's the bus coming?" And I went, "I can find that." By the time I found it, the bus was there.
Oh, nice. Oh, cool.
Is the city being responsive to opening up chunks of the sidewalk for bus stops?
They're being incredibly responsive and they're being very helpful. They're good partners. The main thing that are kind of getting us now is it's just cost, and then also making sure that we're doing all these installations in a very deliberate and thoughtful way, and making sure that these bus stops are that they are all similar and they are consistent. So,
Mhm.
and then depending on the funding source that we get some of the funds for to pay for this, there's other implications. So that means that if it's federal funding, then we have to go through NEPA process for all of these, which can be quite cumbersome. And then state funding that's not necessarily required, but all of these different changes they can be a little bit more complex depending where they are, depending on where the right of way is. Um,
Or how wide the sidewalk is. I'm
and
sure.
how wide the sidewalk is, because we need to, with the bus stops that have a semi seat, not all of them will have semi seats, but the ones that do have a semi seat, it's a little seat attached to the pole.
Yeah, by frame,
Mhm.
and then the purple one, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's,
Yeah.
we have to, it has to be bumped out behind the sidewalk, and there has to be a certain pad, it has to be a certain depth. So we have to hire a contractor in order to do that. And since we're doing several at a time, we also have to make sure that we're meeting our procurement policy, and requires a procurement as well. So right now, in this stage of the process, we are creating all the documentation that needs to go to the city to get the approval of those bus stops. So that we can then, and we're working on funding some additional funds to help with this project. And so we can move that forward.
And when they redo, whenever this happens, the whole heights infrastructure,
Mhm.
are they going to pay for bus stops in that redo?
You know what? I am forgetting at the moment what that agreement is looking
Yeah.
like. But I believe that it's mostly CAT that will need to assist with it, yeah. But
We can ask.
yeah,
It should do. We'll be sequestering our property tax increase year on year on some of that, right? Is that how urban renewal works?
yes, it takes some of our property tax data.
You get a little carrot today.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Any more questions on that? Did I answer all those?
Yep.
And then, yeah. So overview of the fiscal year 2027 budget allows, so that this year, the budget allows for the district to maintain and enhance current services and continue implementation of key projects identified in the Transit Master Plan Update 2023 and the Coordinated Transportation Plan 2024. Our expectation is that ridership will continue to increase and be consistent with the district's ongoing investment. The budget strategy is outlined in the attached budget. The fiscal year 27 budget has been broken out into resources, administrative requirements, operating requirements, and non-allocated requirements. So for resources, the general budget consists of resources from beginning fund balance, federal and state, property tax revenues, and a variety of other smaller sources. In addition, the district continues to carry over some STIF formula funds that were not spent in fiscal year 21 to 23 or fiscal year 23 and 25 funding cycles, but they can be used as program reserve funds. These funds are expected to be used in fiscal year 27. Major resource differences from the prior year are related to capital grants, which fluctuate from the scale and timing of projects.
Before we move on to the grass, can we talk about the board goals? I mean, the only one that I brought it up at the last meeting too, is like, I'd like to see like staff training by choice for AI. I mean, I think, and Jeff, I think they'd be great for that. I don't think we're gonna be able to avoid the AI tsunami headed our way. And I think it would be really good to have some basic, I don't know if ODOT offers that. I would think everybody would try to get at least an introductory.
Yeah, and we have had some at the different conferences. The last year, Jeff and I went to National RTAP. We had it there. And then OTA had, I believe, one or two there. So the Oregon Transit Association conference. And then did SDO have it too? They had it there.
SDO had some, yeah, that's good.
And then we have been working like internally, I've been working with my staff on how to use it and how to use it appropriately. For example, like if we're writing emails and we need some assistance with it, first we kind of do our general draft and then we put it in and help it refine us. So things like that. So that's been something I've been working with my staff kind of internally on.
You know, I just like training for staff. I mean,
Yeah.
we should be promoting these guys' careers
Yeah,
going forward.
100%. And I think that is something that we can continue to look forward or look for. And if you find any good ones, send it my way.
Boy, you know, it's a jungle out there right now. That's for sure.
100%. Okay. All right, so because our board has really liked the graphs that our accountant did this past year, we have also inserted them in here as well. So as you can see, there's some nice pretty graphs.
Can
Hopefully that.
Ask how many are board members in here?
Oh, oops.
3, including timer.
I didn't
You-
realize there
you-
is here.
And you,
Okay.
okay, you're not on the
And
board.
Tamara.
Oh, no,
Okay,
not for a long time.
got
It
it.
used to
Thank you.
be.
I used to be.
I knew that when I first started,
Did
I
I?
was still on the board. Might be, you can use this might be my third round here.
I don't know, longer than that.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Jeremy, sorry, I did not see that you were in the waiting room. I apologize. All right, if you can just make sure in the meeting notes that as of 5:23, he's joined. And Jeremy, we are just going through the budget message and feel free to pipe up whenever you have questions. It's a little harder for me to see, but I'll rely on my helpers to help me. Okay. So we're on administrative requirements. Under administrative requirements, staff have included administrative materials and services and administrative personnel services. Administrative capital outlay was included under administrative requirements in the fiscal year 2026 budget. So that's why it's on there. However, moving forward, staff is including all capital outlays separately to provide more clarity between normal administrative costs and large projects. Operating requirements, under operating requirements, staff have included operating materials and services and operating personnel services. Operating capital outlay was included under operating requirements in fiscal year 26, but again, moving forward, we're moving capital outlay separately to provide more clarity between normal operating costs and large projects, because it was making it really difficult to understand the difference. Increases in ongoing operating costs are primarily tied to inflation related to economic uncertainty with fuel supply and labor resources. So our non-allocated requirements this year, so as we keep talking about, we've included non-allocated capital outlay for large long-term projects. In the fiscal year 27 budget, this includes transit facility development projects and bus purchases. Approximately 1.7 of the non-allocated resources are budgeted as contingency funds and funds reserved for future use. And again, we have a pretty graph and our total budget summary. So for this year, total resources is $8,298,634,000, which is quite a bit less than last year. And we're gonna explain why in just a little bit.
Okay, let's ask a quick one. On the non-allocated reserves, the contingency and reserves,
Yeah.
those just get kind of thrown into our SGIP account, so they're generating LGIP, that's not SGIP, LGIP, right? So we're getting some sort of return on that.
Yep, that is all in our LGIP account.
Awesome.
We only keep about $100,000 at a time in our operating account.
Okay.
And everything else gets held in our LGIP, because it gets better interest.
Got it, okay. So far, you're doing really good.
Yeah, that interest is helpful a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so in summary, the fiscal year 27 budget advances the board's goals to implement the transit master plan, update 2023, and the coordinated transportation plan 2024, continue efforts to increase ridership, replace aging vehicles, build upon existing partnerships, and expand transit connectivity within the region. I want to thank the citizens of the Hood River County and our riders for the continued support of their public transportation system. The district's ongoing ability to provide dependable, reasonable, and useful transportation to the community is only possible because of your support. I look forward to this upcoming year and working with staff, the board, and partner organizations to provide dependable, safe, and consistent public transit services to our community. All right, so next is our vision, which is to connect the people and communities of Hood River County with an accessible and more sustainable future. Our mission, we provide safe, reliable, accessible, and efficient public transportation services in Hood River County and offer critical regional connections to Portland, Washington State, and throughout the gorge. Values, safety, we will ensure the safety of our employees, customers, and transit systems. Customer service, we will work with our customers to meet their needs and exceed their expectations. Sustainability, we will continuously improve and be accountable for our financial, environmental, and social outcomes. Integrity, as stewards of public resources, we will use our assets prudently and conduct ourselves honestly and respectfully. Community driven, as stakeholders of Hood River County, we strive to ensure our services contribute to the social, cultural, and economic betterment of our residents. Innovation, we will pursue opportunities to enhance value for our customers. And collaboration, we will activate or cultivate strong partnerships, community connections, and links to other types of travel. Teamwork, as a team, we celebrate diversity, foster effective communication, and promote advancement and longevity. And my hope or intent is that you will see a snippet of these values throughout the budget and what we're trying to accomplish.
Okay.
Has that statement changed in recent years at all, or is it?
It has not. It is something that I do want to look at. I want to look at kind of refining our values and maybe just honing in on a couple more. But no, we have not changed that in the last several years. But
I think they're all very good things. I'm not
Yes.
saying you should, but it's just.
Yeah.
Is this different?
Oh,
no, it should not be that we haven't changed since then before I was executive director. Hood River County, oh yeah, sorry.
returning over.
There's one more statement.
Oh,
Hood River County
so sorry.
Transportation District is proud to
God.
present the fiscal year 27 budget to the public. We are committed to providing safe, reliable, accessible, and sustainable public transit services far into the future.
You stepped in our clothes.
I know.
That's what they call it in the biz. Yeah, the
Ending,
big wrap,
right?
yeah, the big finale.
Okay, so now we get to the fun stuff, the highlights of the budget.
Right.
So the beginning fund balance, staff anticipates a beginning fund balance of approximately 1.3 million from fiscal year 26 moving over. Of this, 255,000 is expected to be statewide transportation improvement funds, or again, STIF formula funds that were not spent in the past bienniums, that were reserved for bus stop improvements, but to ensure ADA accessibility, but now can also be used for program reserve funds. And 11,000 other restricted funds are from vehicle sales and must be used to purchase new vehicles or match towards new vehicles. And the remaining 1.3 are unallocated funds. So just to highlight this, with the beginning, that 1.3 of unallocated funds, it is higher than past years, because of interest reimbursement delays. So we had made some purchases of property, and some we operated some services and then didn't get the reimbursements until this current fiscal year. So we made those expenses happened in the prior fiscal year, but we didn't get reimbursed until this year. So a little higher because of that, but the majority of the reason, our understanding is that we have just in the past been really conservative with what that beginning funding balance will be. And so we think this is an accurate statement.
Okay.
Now, some things that may impact that a little bit, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more. Those replacement vehicles that I had talked about, where we're expecting them by the end of this fiscal year, but we might not get reimbursed for those until next fiscal year, or they may come next fiscal year, not actually this fiscal year.
Yeah.
So that may adjust that a
Okay.
bit, and I'm hoping to get more clarity on that by the time of our next budget committee meeting.
But that's the kind of detail that your board sees in the monthly actuals, right?
Yes.
And that stuff's happening. We're just doing a
The review,
overarching here that this is what we hope happens.
Yes, and I bring it up because I think that, you know, if I were you guys, I would be asking that question of like why. But also, I bring it up because if I do get clarity on that by the end of this, by the next committee, I will change that
Okay.
to make that a little more reflective.
Cause that can be a big change.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And to be clear, like that first line, it should say 1.55 million, right? Because the total beginning fund balance will be 1.555.
Oh,
Am I just being?
yeah, I think
Where-
you're right.
Oh, just because you say approximately 1.3
Yeah,
million
yeah.
of this 255,000. So it's kind of actually the sum of those two, that first.
You are 100%
Yeah.
right, thank you.
Okay, so
Actually, not a big deal, but.
say that one more time.
So it's where it says staff anticipates a beginning
Mhm.
fund balance of approximately 1.3, that should be 1.5.
Okay,
Because that's the sum of the 1.3
You're
and the
right,
255.
Yes. And one phase one.
Yep. So thank you. This is why we have
catch.
lots of additional options. Yep. And I'll update that. Okay, so fare and contract revenue, the low-cost annual Gorge Transit Pass program has seen steady 11% growth year over year, with a large local following who consistently purchase the pass. And staff are expecting a roughly 4% increase in one-way fares due to its trend of a steady increase in ridership. Due to the loss of the WashDOT contract to operate the Dog Mountain Shuttle, contract revenue is expected to increase slightly from previous years as the U.S. Forest Service is covering the gap.
You lost that contract?
Yes, so that was my next question. I
Okay.
think that happened this year, so you guys didn't get that update.
Oh, okay.
So what happened, we didn't necessarily lose it, we just we were not awarded funding for this biennium,
By
by WashDOT.
I washed out, okay.
Yeah. And so we are eligible though to apply again. And actually we need to submit an application by September.
Okay,
So
But
So-
Forest Service covered that.
the Forest Service is covering it this year
for you.
for CAT, yeah, so
Yeah,
that we
okay.
continue to operate.
Okay, so that's why I got confused. You are
Yeah.
gonna operate.
We are
Just a
operating,
different funding source.
yes,
Thank you. I get it now.
yes.
Yeah, that was a little, wait, whoa.
See?
That's- Yeah,
Yeah.
a little plot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I kind of lost it too there.
I
If we're
will,
losing it at the same time, that
Thanks,
means
good.
we're we're the greenies.
no, that's good, and then I can work on trying to clarify that a little bit more, that it's still operating, it's just the funding sources have
Okay.
changed a bit. Okay, any other questions on that? Okay. So for federal grants, the anticipated federal revenue consists of 5311 and 5310 formula and 5310 discretionary funding. This revenue partially funds ongoing operations for the Hood River City route, Dial Ride, and Upper Valley service, preventative maintenance, and mobility management. The remainder of the anticipated federal funding is tied to several delayed contracts. Staff has rolled over these funds from fiscal year 26 to fiscal year 27 for the following projects. So the replacement vehicles, so those are the ones that I was just talking about, how they're getting ready to be delivered. But it's really kind of unknown if they will make it by June 30th,
Okay.
2026. I think they will, but I haven't got that fully confirmed yet. And then the second is the 2023 FTA section 5339B discretionary funds. So in 2023, you guys might remember we were awarded over $6 million in FTA low or no emission bus program grant funds to assist with the facility modification and electrification of the fleet. The agreement has not yet been executed, and based on FTA guidance, a scope change request was submitted by staff to prioritize the facility modification and remove the electrification of the fleet and EV infrastructure from the scope of work. And so while that is unfortunate that we
Yeah.
can't move forward with the electrification of the fleet, it does help make more money available for the redevelopment of that current park and ride into a bus barn and maintenance facility.
Which is right there.
Yep, and that is the big priority because we have a large amount
Okay.
of vehicles that we need
Okay.
storage for.
But the amount didn't change. The 6 million didn't change, you just have to restructure it.
Yes, and it'll still hasn't been fully approved. So the scope change request. So hopefully that will still go through as that funding is really needed.
And you are gonna talk a little bit more about the park and ride and everything at the next one, and I could
Yeah.
just use a little bit more understanding about where all three places and what they do.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I'm happy to send maps that
Oh.
kind of show the
Mhm.
different
Yeah.
locations where they are. But yeah, I'm happy to walk that
Okay.
through more.
That would help me.
So and that's actually part of the next one.
And that's what I have marked.
Great.
Did you know?
Oh my God.
So in 2024, we have FTA section 5339 discretionary funds again. And we're awarded 1 million to relocate the park and ride so that the current park and ride can be redeveloped into a bus storage and maintenance facility. And for the implementation of the interregional transit hub at lot 1 near lot 1 near the Hood River waterfront. And then that's the request for proposal that has been sent out for a consultant to manage these projects. It was released in March 2026. We have not made a formal decision yet and or contract, but it is expected to kick off the summer of 2026. So for a little more clarity,
Yes.
so our current park and ride down
Right.
there, that will be redeveloped into a large bus barn and maintenance facility. So we
it's a
can,
building.
it's gonna be a
Yeah,
building and
okay.
structure.
that
The
you-
hope is to also include potentially space for a bigger conference room so we can accommodate a little more people. And also, you know, a maintenance facility and cleaning station down there
Okay.
and as well.
Okay.
Are you restructuring the one up here then, or are you just gonna have
No,
both?
we'll have both. This will be more for the smaller vehicles and this will be for our large
So
vehicles.
that's, I was just pointing to that. So
Yeah.
out there will be your smaller vehicles and.
Well, so
Just-
our current bus barn, which is just kind of behind the
Right.
administrative facility. And then the lot out here that's
Yeah.
gravel that has currently the big buses parked there.
Yeah.
That will be transformed into a park and ride.
Oh, okay.
Since we're getting rid of this park and ride, it'll be much smaller, but the availability will still exist.
Okay.
And we found that that's a really big amenity for Gorge Mountain Express, but also the Columbia Gorge Express. We have it, I think that lot is actually staying only at 60% at capacity on average throughout the year.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not ever over.
It does, during Gorge to Mountain Express season, every spot can be filled.
Oh, that's
The
good.
one here?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
That's great.
Um,
Okay. I just wanted to understand that. And then the one at the waterfront is a bunch of districts together. Or
So it'll be-
different types of transportation together.
Yeah, so it'll be leading the charge, or we will be leading the charge, and it's a partnership with the Port of Hood River. We have an IGA in order to do this work together. And the intent is to continue to work together closely as this project develops. And it'll be up to 4 bus bays that can accommodate up to 45-foot vehicles. With open shelter, seating, wayfinding, and potentially and some marketing opportunities there. And could eventually at a future phase also include a public restroom, but that's unknown at this point. But yeah, and it not only so it would serve all of our services, it would serve Mount Adams Transportation Services. The Link transit services from the Dalles. And then it could also accommodate the Northwestern stage lines, inner city service that goes all the way, I think it's from Boise, and then goes to Union Station.
Okay. So we
And-
have a place for each of those types of buses to stop.
Yep.
Just get off the highway and not have to wander around.
Well, and create connections.
And
So
create
the
connections.
goal is to create those connections in a place that is walkable to downtown Hood
Right,
River.
okay.
And my pipeline goal is also that not only so these public transit agencies, but potentially other private agencies can work with us and make that their base too. So
Okay.
there's these connections that can happen from people who are traveling on Columbia Gorge Express or the Link, and they can take public transit to get here. And then they can use different
Yeah.
private organizations for tours or what have you.
Tours or.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so it's just kind of
So it's a centralized
Yeah.
location for all of those connections to
that's a great
happen.
idea. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
glad I understand it now.
When you say private, do you mean like Marvin's Gorge Tours, like that private kind of thing?
Potentially, or, potentially, I have not had any conversations with these individuals, but potentially the fruit company when they're doing all their different tours. Or so it could be a lot of different options.
Right.
And again, there's been no discussion, there's been no formal agreements of that sort.
Going right
but-
to Elsa, Janet.
But just that is my big overarching vision,
Okay.
that it could
Okay.
become this really amazing spot where all these transportation connections can happen in Hood River.
Right. And
'Cause
so
right now
it
they're
would
all
make
over
it-
the
it would
place.
Make it so intimidating to take a bus somewhere and not knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah.
What happens?
Okay.
And then the other great thing about
Okay.
that is it would allow our Columbia Gorge Express.
Yeah.
So right now, all of those, so us, and the two other public transit providers and Northwestern Stage Lines use this area as a pulse transfer. This was never meant as a space for 4 buses
Mhm.
to come. So it's, we've kind of made it happen, and it's really not a long-term solution.
Okay.
So the goal is to move that major pulse point transfer there. And then it also gets folks who are coming out of town into Hood River, into the downtown core, to promote economic development, but also to the hotels, so they can do trips that are
Get to
potentially
the
car
train.
free.
You know, the
Yeah.
train is right there.
So there's
Yeah.
lots of
Okay.
other opportunities that could help develop.
And that's
Okay.
the most logical place that's still remaining in Hood
Yeah.
River. This was meant to be a dollar ride spot,
Mhm.
so.
Okay.
Are you gonna move, is it still there, the Greyhound stop downtown?
So that is also my other intent is to put that close to our services. While we could potentially have staff at the interregional transit hub long-term via kiosk, or, during busy seasons, have an employee there to kind of help with
Okay.
major transfer times. But at least it gets them closer to our services so we can help them.
The Greyhound people.
Yeah, because a lot of times what happens is they just get left there, or something happens and there's no one to help them. And then 2 hours later, they find themselves here. And by the time they find themselves here, it's really hard for us to help them.
Oh, God.
So, that's another one of the goals is to create it. So it's, again, this big hub where all this connectivity
The
is happening in one
connectivity
spot.
happens and people
Yep.
understand. Okay.
Yep.
That's exciting. That's really
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about the Greyhound people too.
Yeah.
Where's Great?
It's over by the railroad.
Okay.
You know, when you go.
Yeah, you'll occasionally see it there if you make that turn.
If
You're just like,
you-
"Oh,
that
man."
And this
But-
bus has to go all the way around.
Yeah.
Anyway, could I ask you a question quick?
Yes.
How are we accounting for the lower no emissions money?
So now we have moved it, since we kind of moved it around. I did 2 things this year, and that's one of the reasons why the total resources is less. I've added a more realistic amount for what I think we'll spend this year, for the bigger projects like the transit facility development projects. And
So the third and first and third bullet points you're saying. Essentially.
it's just the third one. So the first one is a separate grant.
Okay,
But oh, I'm sorry.
It's,
No, I'm sorry, it's the second one
Okay.
that we're talking about, because that's the no or low emission one. But that one, sorry, okay. So the spend, so the 2024 5339 discretionary. I'm being more realistic of what we'll spend. It's the 2 and the 3rd bullet
Okay.
that are kind of combined there. So I'm being more realistic of what we'll probably spend this year of that, and of what we'll spend of the 5339B discretionary funds as well.
And that is reflected in the capital outlay.
That is reflected in the capital outlay.
Okay.
And if you go to that, which we'll get there soon.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, we'll get there when we get there.
I just
I was just
listed out.
curious because it seems like, we've got 3.4 in federal grants. I know that, a lot of our, as you highlighted that, our city routes are funded there. I'm just trying to work out like how the money all adds up.
Yeah, so the whole
Yeah.
6 million isn't accounted for in this.
Yeah, because
next year.
I didn't include it all.
because you-
Okay, so if we get it, then it's just gonna
Right.
essentially be offsetting line items on the expenditures and the resources.
Yeah, and even if we get it all, so we'll be spending a very small amount of that.
This year.
This year.
I got it.
Mhm.
Okay.
So what we will spend of it is the NEPA planning work that's gonna be required for the interregional transit hub, which is that 3rd bullet.
Mhm.
And then the construction of, well, the planning, so the engineering and design, and potentially some of the construction for the park and ride lot. And then the initial planning, as much as they can get done for the bus barn and maintenance facility redevelopment. And that is gonna be tricky, because there is a big pipe that runs underneath
Mhm.
that parking lot.
I remember when we did this application, I just remembered that.
Yeah.
Wow, we had to
Yeah.
really work on that parking lot.
Irrigation pipe or
It's sewer,
sewer?
and it has,
All into town.
yep, and it
Yeah.
has to be relocated
Yeah,
from out of our parking lot
that's gonna be interesting.
before we can build
Yeah.
up. So
Right.
I'm in close contact with the city. My understanding is they've included it in their budget to make
Okay.
sure it's there. But we're all kind of working together on that, as it's gonna be a big project.
Mhm.
So like how it works
Yeah.
is we'll just get. Let's say we still get the $6 million. The majority of it won't be included until next year's budget
Yeah, or the year after.
or the year after, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cause since we're all reimbursement based, we don't get those resources until we've spent.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
But then like last year, for example, with $10 million in federal grants, we included that all last year.
we did.
Okay, so that was our full spending authority or what we're authorized to do. So this year, we're just narrowing our scope to
Yeah.
keep it clean.
And at the time, it made sense, but to your point, we've kind of learned
Right.
Yeah.
that,
Cool.
I don't need to do that, and I can have less. And to be more reflective of what our budget actually is and what we'll probably spend.
And what you're actually doing.
Yeah,
And when
exactly.
time it's gonna happen. I thought that's,
Yeah.
that's very helpful.
Yeah.
Cause I thought, I remember last year going, are you sure you're gonna get all this money?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I
And
think we
at the
all did.
Let's see. Yeah, so I think there's, every year I'm in this job, I learn a little bit more.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, so that explains some of the swinging
Yeah.
nature of the numbers. Got it.
exactly, that and that everything is, we're moving in the capital outlay to bring more
Yeah.
clarity to that too. And then the 5311, 5310 formula, I believe that's about, what is that, Tia? That's about, is it just under $1 million every year that we get from
Yeah.
that? Yeah. Okay. And then any more questions on that?
Yeah, that's very helpful.
Matt, did I answer all your
Yes,
questions?
you did. Thank
Okay,
you.
cool. Jeremy, Tamara, are you still good up there? Okay, great. State grants, anticipated state revenue consists of statewide transportation improvement fund, gosh, I say that a lot. And discretionary funding. This revenue funds all or partial amounts of ongoing operations for the Columbia Gorge Express, the River City Route, Dial Ride, Upper Valley, Gorge to Mountain Express, outreach and mobility projects. And every year, as kind of costs increase, those funds are paying more and more for operations and less for other things, like mobility and outreach.
Oh,
Mm,
okay, for operations like cost of and salaries and everything.
Yep.
Included, okay.
Yep.
Some of that stiff money is. We're guaranteed, right, because of our tax base, and some of it is grants.
Correct.
I'm assuming the tax base amount has continued to increase.
Yes, but it increased at a small amount and does not increase at the same rate as our costs do.
But we're still being fairly successful getting grants as well under the stiff.
Yep, the discretionary funds. Yeah,
Okay.
so the formula funds are those that are from the employee payroll tax.
Well, that's,
And then the discretionary or the funds that we typically get for the pilot projects or I mean, well, technically the Columbia Gorge Express is still funded through a discretionary grant, which is not great and something that I'm continuing to work with ODOT on.
And put it into a,
Well, that's the problem.
yeah.
yeah,
There's not a lot of great funding sources right now, but it's part of the statewide transit network. And so we're trying to figure out how we can continue to fund that in a sustainable way, because the other option for people to fund those type of routes is through 5311 funds. And that has a much higher match rate, and that's not something that we have
Okay, the one you
the
talked about up
ability to
there,
afford.
and it's a federal revenue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, please. Any other questions on that?
No, I just had a thought about how much your brain must do this every day.
Yeah, it does.
It's just gave me like, whoa.
Should have seen my brain the other day. It was very much like people tried to talk to me and it was very much befuddled. And people have to tell me if I have to switch gears. They have to be like, Amy, we gotta talk about operations now. I'm like, okay, give me a second.
Those numbers.
Yep. Okay. So the next is property taxes.
Mhm.
Property taxes include anticipated revenue from Hood River County property taxes, other tax revenue, the statewide mass transit tax and before I go on, property tax, again, we get I think it's about 230-ish a year from that. And that increases slightly every year, but again, that does not increase with the costs that increase that we can't control.
Like this.
Yeah, and I forget if did I include it in here? I don't, I think it was in one of my applications that I included it in. But we have a large amount of our costs, like vehicle insurance, that goes up, was that 15% each year?
16.
16%. The vehicles, we had purchased vehicles, like when I first got to the district, in 2019, those same vehicles in 2023 cost more than twice that amount. And then I already did vehicle benefits is another one. This past year, it's actually decreased by 1.6%, but typically it's increasing about 10% every year.
Okay.
And if you look at the data from 2015, I believe it's on average, it's increased 10% each year, something to that degree.
That's a lot of stuff to juggle.
It is, especially when you're thinking about on average, the recommendation when you're applying for new grants, the average recommendation is to increase your costs about 5% each year. So when you have all these costs that you can't do anything about because they're completely outside of our control, and then you're looking at what on average the recommendation is to budget for, it just doesn't match up
Okay,
or apply for. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah.
and have you had projects fall apart because of that?
Well,
Hop in there.
we have I've been including a little extra buffer. When I'm doing my forecasting, we have also done a lot of work over the past year and a half, 2 years, to really refine how we are tracking our costs. So we have a much more accurate number
Okay,
of what each project or what each service costs on a per hour
Okay.
basis.
it's really good to hear all this because it
Yeah.
makes me think this is a solid organization.
I hope so.
It sounds.
Down.
I think you're doing.
All right, so then that goes back to other tax revenues. So the statewide mass transit tax and HRT tax, which are much smaller, but we want to make sure that they're still really clear and represented here. And then the bond and debt revenue. So while bond and debt revenue is budgeted for fiscal year 26, the district does not anticipate any of this revenue for fiscal year 27, and that's because the NOLO grant that was supposed to include those electric buses.
Yeah, back here.
We're not going forward with the electric buses, and those are the reasons why we needed the bond and debt revenue to help with the match for those buses, because those are so expensive. But because we are not doing that, we don't need that much money, or not that large amount of money anymore for that match requirement, and we can be much more targeted on a per year basis to make sure the
Mhm.
expenses that we
Yeah.
are spending on those projects match what match we have available
Yeah.
to spend.
That's good.
That is a silver one.
Electric buses would have been cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
But
All right, interest income. So as we've already kind of talked about, the district has benefited from interest generated through three local government investment pool or LGIP accounts through the Oregon State Treasury, and continues to see a healthy year-over-year growth. Other revenue, the district is expecting to sell a portion of the aging fleet and receives insurance credits for completing training through Special Districts Association of Oregon, or SDAO.
What interest rate was there, 26 and 20? I didn't see that listed, maybe I missed it. What interest rate were you using for the budget this year compared to last year?
Of just like how
Was there, like, what interest income, what was the interest rate for last year's budget?
oh, I think we were at what, like 4.7?
let's be.
And this year, is it the same?
I think it went down a tad, but I think it might be at 4.5. I have to double check my
That's what I was
I
thinking.
think 10 years
Since the
ago,
last-
it's like 4.3, so it's gonna be somewhere around there.
Okay,
but I can also double check that for you.
okay. I'd just like to fill it in for, keep it on.
Yeah. Okay. All right, and so any other questions on that, or the little graph with the more specific dollar amounts to those, all that we just talked about?
Was.
It made it on there, just didn't make
Right,
it
you're
into
right.
the documentation.
Yeah.
That's a-
All right, so for administrative requirements, so administrative materials and services, the building expenses, budgeted building expenses were increased about 20,000 due to expected increase for any maintenance related activities that do not have an existing contract. Additionally, staff expects the need to repair the fire suppression vault drain within the next year. And that's expected to be about $10,000. But just in general, this is an aging facility. It just needs a little bit more upkeep. So we're just adding a little bit more buffer in there for that. And again, those type of expenses tend to be really susceptible to inflation and increased labor costs, et cetera, et cetera. Professional fees. Professional fees were reduced as the project management, architectural, engineering, and design expense for the CAT Transit Facility Development Program was moved to the non-allocated capital
Right,
outlay.
that's. I had to, you know what, I read it up here and I went, why smaller? And I kept reading and I went, oh, move to non-allocated.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And another nice thing that I'm just do a kind of a shout out to Ms. Tia here is with her diligent work with our outside accountant and really working on refining our different processes and just a lot of work that we've done with them. We've been able to reduce the amount that we spend on them each month and year over year. So I think that's a good call out.
Yeah,
Good for us, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
important to have that knowledge in-house.
Yeah.
And then any questions on administrative materials and services?
Mm.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to take a quick little break. I'll be right
Okay.
back, please.
And we are gonna go till 6:30?
I think we will likely, yes.
Okay, well, yeah. But not farther.
Just make sure that you recess the meeting, don't adjourn me.
Yes. These
Because we're
important
recessing,
elements.
There's only one budget meeting. It just gets recessed for a month.
Right,
So we
got it.
convene.
Thank you.
That's my Arthur Babbitt's tidbit for it.
Oh, Arthur
That's
Babbitt.
the worst of our problems.
She's doing a good job. You're both doing a good job. Of being very, getting a lot of stuff done, but being somewhat conservative.
I think,
Just some-
I mean, the
yeah.
conservative nature too, right, with just uncertainty with the STIF funding, I mean, there's more people after the STIF funds. Obviously, you've got all that, just got petitions, so I mean, who knows what's happening with the transportation bill? And then we won't even go to the federal
Right.
question marks.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
but you just don't go after everything you see.
No.
You just kind of stay with the plan and work from that. And I
But you
think
try
that's-
to develop a realistic plan, but now with gas prices and everything, it's getting even more challenging. But what
But
was,
she's allocated for,
yeah, what was interesting is gas prices are not a huge chunk of the budget.
mhm.
no, I was.
You know, it's a vehicle, it's.
Not yet.
personnel.
Yeah.
Did I just?
That could change.
Jim, we're only positive at this.
I know that could change now. Well, it could change positive and negative. right?
$15 a gallon.
It's been going up and down.
Yeah, that number.
Roller coaster.
Then you'll get a lot more in fair revenue. I
It
guess.
goes up
Yeah,
fast,
that
it comes
far.
down slow.
Well, you get a lot more in riders.
Right. Exactly. It goes up.
Yeah, there you go.
All right,
Okay.
sorry. Thank you guys. Tia, can you just, because I can get so absorbed, can you just let me know when it's 6:15?
Absolutely.
All right, administrative personnel wages. So administrative wages in fiscal year 24, staff introduced a formalized pay step chart that is included in Exhibit A, which creates an objective understanding of step increases. If an employee receives a positive performance review and an increase is recommended by the manager. This model has been updated from the fiscal year 26 structure to include a recommended 2.5% cost of living adjustment or COLA increase, which is less than the Social Security COLA of 2.8% due to the current economic environment. There are 3 FTEs that are included in this category. So myself, Tia, office manager, and then project coordinator, and Tim.
Why aren't we just going with 2.8? I mean, why are we giving them a 0.3% less spending power?
So that ultimately can be your guys' decision, to increase it. That
And
is
I-
part of it.
I think it ought to be a lot, I think it ought to be 2.8. I mean, we're effectively cutting their spending power. Right, I mean, if COLA says 2.8, I think it ought to be 2.8.
Is that what we've done in the past?
I have no idea.
So this is actually new starting last
Okay.
year.
That's what I'm not-
We broke it out starting last year.
Yeah.
I knew we rejiggered the whole scale last year.
Yeah. And so the policy stating that we kind of go by this Social Security COLA
Mhm.
is a new thing, and this would be the first
Okay.
year that becomes a reality. So I did do the 2.5 just because of some of all the uncertainty, but also the union contract is
Yeah.
at the they have the 2.5. So again, it's within the ability of the budget committee to do that. It just could be a potentially perspective thing.
So Jim, you're saying the cost of living to go to 2.8.
Yeah, well, I mean, if
That's
giving them-
an idea,
it's spending power, right?
right?
But it
And
is,
what we're doing is we're cutting their spending power, or reducing their spending power. And I think we ought to be treading water.
It's really reasonable. My question to you then would be, is there an optics problem with union employees?
That is the thing I would consider.
Oh, they don't want it.
Cause it's just the three, it's you two and Jeff that.
So
are
it would,
reflected here?
it would be me, so in the administrative, so
Oh,
over-
I see what you're saying.
yeah, so it'd be all the office staff. So you
Okay.
have, it'd be me, Tia, Jeff, Tim, Becca, Troy, Mike, and Rob, all the field supervisors. So there's kind of that optics
not the
issue there.
drivers.
Yeah, so the drivers are completely separate. They would not be impacted by this.
And their contract still has a while to run.
Has 2 more years.
Okay.
And there, I think the reason why unions do not typically like going by the Social Security index is or Social Security COLA is because there are some years when that COLA is less than that 2.5. So
Be zero.
Where has that?
For about the entire decade of the team, that's all.
Oh, in the teens?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, look,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah,
Probably
definitely not the
2019.
last few years,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
so that is one of the reasons why.
Okay,
So,
I think it would be a challenging optics situation
yeah,
to increase office staff at a higher rate than
then,
drivers. But I think it would also be a good thing to revisit the next time the union negotiations come around,
oh, that's a good point.
if they want to stay unionized.
whichever's higher or something like that, I don't know. Good question, yeah.
Yeah.
I would always want COLA, right, for sure.
Except if it's zero.
Right, well,
Well, in that case, I mean, in theory, then like nothing's costing more as well.
right, then it's the same, right?
Yeah.
Then you're not losing purchasing power.
Yeah.
That's a couple of nights less pizza a month.
Yeah, but I did think it was, and I appreciate hearing that perspective from you all, because I do think it is important to at least keep that cost of living adjustment in there, because I know that there's some organizations out
Yeah.
there that are not
Doing it,
doing it.
yeah,
So I appreciate that.
I appreciate that.
If it weren't for the union issue, I would be
Right.
on board with you, but
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I didn't know about the union situation.
So like the wages that we see in that box, right, the additional 11, almost $12,000. Is that strictly from COLA, or is that also incorporate the step?
That's, it's both, so it's the 2.5% step and then the COLA as well.
Okay,
So we're not.
the step and COLA.
Yeah.
Certainly like adding an extra point to
And
these, certainly not
so-
gonna be a budget buster by any means either, so.
And then it has, I'm sure you guys have all seen it, but in the exhibit A, there's the difference of just the 2.5% step, and then also the 2.5% step with the 2.5% COLA increase. And then all the bolds are where their current employees.
Oh, there it is, oh.
Just for transparency's sake.
Okay.
Um,
Confused.
okay,
and which one did you include in the budget?
I did include the one with the total 5%, the two,
628,000.
yes.
Which is,
That was part of a bigger number, yeah.
okay. Well, we get to that chart again, and so, and
Yeah, and the reason why it's bigger is that chart not only has the administrative staff, which is me, Tia, and Tim, but it also has the operational office staff. So Jeff and the 4 field supervisors.
Okay, that's, I was gonna ask about that, 3 FTE, okay, thank you.
Okay, so administrative taxes are typically assessed as a percentage of wages, and therefore the tax increase is directly related to the increase in wages. And then the administrative benefits, Benefits are expected to decrease 1.6% from fiscal year 2026, as all three administrative personnel receive health stipends, which are reflected in wages rather than benefits. But again, that 70% of that, so if you have a health stipend, you get 70% of the cost of benefits to that employee. And so since that has been reduced a little bit, then the stipend is reduced just a tad. And the reason why that one, we've had that small decrease is that over this past year, we have hired more, our average age of employees has been reduced.
I highlighted that. That was the happiest thing I saw in this entire report. I think that's a sign of a healthy organization.
Yeah.
When younger people are learning.
Yeah.
There.
Well, I think when also you're looking at the driver profession, it tends to be older, so I'm really excited to see
Yeah.
that there's kind of some varying demographics there.
Oh, good.
And that we've been able to not collect, but
That's awesome.
make people want to come here.
Yes.
Recruit, thank you.
That's a good word.
Okay. Any questions on those? Okay, administrative capital outlay. Staff included administrative capital outlay as it was included in the fiscal year 26 budget. However, again, as we talked about, that's moving to non-allocated.
Okay.
All right. So next is operating materials and services. Just wrote a little note. So fuel, again, due to the Iran war, gasoline and diesel prices remain volatile. They've stayed actually lower in Head River than in other places, which is nice, but still we're expecting that to go up. So we have allowed for an additional buffer in case prices increase or remain high for an extended period of time. Vehicle expenses. Staff is expecting an increase in vehicle expenses by over 100,000 due from fiscal year 26 due to repairs and tires being particularly susceptible to pricing increases during times of economic uncertainty. Vehicle insurance is expected to increase due to the addition of 2 new large buses and an anticipated 13% rate increase. The other thing that kind of is impacting this is, so tires, we got some new tires at the end of last fiscal year and have not had to replace as many this current year, so it'll go up as well because of that. Operation expenses, radios, fleet maintenance software, fleet tracking software, and data for driver tablets are expected to remain stable. This year, staff relocated expenses for merchant fees, shop supplies, and bus stop maintenance expenses, which accounts for the increase from fiscal year 26. And I'm sorry, it is 6:15. I do believe I need to get through the reading of the budget, so we might go over that 6:30. Is that okay? Is that all right? I'm sorry.
I'm okay.
You're okay.
Is
All right, everybody okay?
I was just looking at 6:15.
Yeah. Oh, what did I was on driver expenses, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Operated.
Or no,
She did
operation expenses.
Expenses, didn't she?
Yes.
Did, okay. Oh, well, I'm not sure I called out. This year, we relocated expenses for merchant fees, shop supplies, and bus stop maintenance expenses, which is what accounts for the increase in fiscal year 26.
Okay.
So we kind of rejiggered a couple things to make it go under the right budget or the right buckets. Driver expenses, the driver training, medical exams, and drug testing remains relatively stable. Staff updated the Georgetown Express uniform to include high visibility bibs. Thank you, board. Which was a great safety improvement when drivers are chaining. Additionally, the operations team has been hiring more part-time drivers, which assists with covering seasonal routes and PTO requests, but does result in increased onboarding and uniform costs. Advertising and marketing. Sorry, I'm going a little quicker, but please feel free to jump in.
Okay.
Advertising and marketing, the expected expense remains relatively similar to fiscal year 26. The low cost remains possible due to the success of the Gorge Transit Pass marketing partnership with the four Gorge Transit agencies. This partnership has required fewer district resources to increase regional awareness. The district will continue to use the available resources for local marketing efforts. So grant contract match distributions, expenses included in this category are Gorge Transit Pass distributions to other providers because we are the financial manager of that program, and contracting out the staffing of the Multnomah Falls Exit 31 permit program, and match paid to McHead for travel training and mobility management services that we collaborate with them on. Any questions on those?
Do you think our fuel costs are high enough?
I hope so.
No,
Sorry, that wasn't a great answer.
no, that's fine.
I think compared to Tia, where are we right now? We're at like
We're still trending.
for this year.
The budget from last year.
Yeah.
Quite a
Yeah.
bit.
And I'm watching it very closely.
Is it-
I think we're doing great with, especially with that 300.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Originally, I think we had it at 200.
Yeah.
And then we upped it to 250 and then 300 with the most recent news. So the operating personnel services, operations wages. Wages have steadily increased due to annual wage increases and staffing changes. There are 5 full-time employees, so 1 transit operations manager and 4 field supervisors that are included in operating personnel services and considered office staff, not drivers. An additional, so a big change this year that happened is an additional field supervisor was added, an increase from 3. So it went to 3 to 4. And the dispatcher position that we had was removed. This allowed for more field supervisor coverage during the busy times of the day because they overlap longer, and more sustainable shifts as well. So they now work for 10s. These employees are included in the salary scale detailed in Exhibit A. Driver's pay increase structure is described in detail in the union contract. Operations taxes. Taxes are typically assessed as a percentage of wages, and therefore the tax increase is directly related to the increase in wages. Operations benefits. Benefits are expected, as we talked about, to decrease 1.6% from fiscal year 26, as we talked about, due to lower average age of employees. Additionally, several operating personnel waive their insurance and receive health stipends instead, which is reflected in wages rather than benefits. All right, any questions on that? Okay. Operating capital outlay, again, this has been moved to the non-allocated, and now we get to non-allocated.
It's about time, right?
Yes. As the district does not plan to spend all available resources in the current year, but it's a little more realistic budget than we have had in past years, staff has budgeted the remaining 5 mil of resources as follows. So we have this breakdown, this graph. So there's the 235 to 50-foot vehicles. So again, those are the ones that could come this year or next year, but I wanted to make sure they were included just in case. And again, depending on what more information I get, but for our next budget committee meeting, that number may change. And then so the 2023 5339B gas vehicles. So that's the NOLO grant. Part of that scope change request was not only to just transfer some of the money to facility modification, but to make the electric vehicles that were in there gas vehicles. So that is the estimate for what those gas vehicles would cost.
Okay.
And since those gas vehicles are readily available, we could, if we do get this grant executed, there is the possibility that they could potentially come next year. So that's why I put them in there. And that would be for 6 vehicles. 2 trolley buses. Finally getting there.
Going back to the beginning.
Yep. Low floor trolley
Oh, much
buses.
better.
And then 2 Columbia Gorge Express or seasonal route buses, and then 2 transit vans for dial-a-ride and such.
Of the dial-in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, transit facility site development project 1, so that is the interregional transit hub. Then the project 2, which is the new bus barn and maintenance facility. And if you guys ever get bored and want to read more about these projects, the RFP is still on our website. And I'm also happy to send that to you as all public documents if you want to read more about those
Okay.
projects. And then project 3, the relocation of the park and ride, and the breakdown of what I'm estimating we might spend on those is there. So for project 1, the majority of that is the NEPA work and initial planning. And then project 2, the new bus barn and maintenance facility, again, that's that's design and engineering and planning. And then project 3, relocation of the park and ride, that would include design, engineering, and potentially and construction. Not potentially, and construction.
And construction?
Yeah.
This is what you hope to do next year, but who knows?
Yes,
Yeah.
that is our goal.
Yeah.
With our current timeline, I think we could get, if everything moves smoothly, we could get most of that construction done by next fiscal year. And then the Cascade Locks bus stop,
Mhm.
which I'm hoping we can make happen. But because it's on ODOT right away, there's a couple of other requirements that we have to meet.
Those ODOT people.
And so we did put an application for that though, and that actually does not require a match, so
Do you
that's
know,
why it's not
I
in
know
there.
2 people right now, excuse me, I'll say this
Yeah.
fast, but 2 people right now that have to continue to live in Cascade Locks. They both work in the Heights, one at the pet store, one at Farm Stand, because that's where they can rent.
Mhm.
And so we have to get them back and forth.
Yep.
Mhm.
Thanks.
And we have, I mean, that's alone, we have 2 employees that live there.
Yeah, it's an important thing.
Yep. That and the Dows
Mhm.
is another big one.
Yeah.
Okay, so debt service. Again, so last year we had set aside about 10% of the anticipated loan that would have been needed for the large electric vehicles. To account for the associated interest and fees. However, since a scope change request has been submitted, we have removed those vehicles and the debt service. Contingency, the district plans to reserve approximately 3 months of operating expenses or 800,000 as contingency funds in the event of a major unexpected. Wow, okay, sorry. Unexpected disruption causes significant adjustment to budgeted expenses. So I did want to highlight that last year we put that 800 in reserve for future expenditure. And my understanding is you can really do either way, but it made more sense to put that 800,000 in that contingency bucket. And then reserve for future expenditure was the remainder of those funds. So approximately about $947,000. Any questions on that? Okay. Any additional questions on Exhibit A, staff salary scale?
No?
So I'm just trying to figure out where that number appears on this.
So it's kind of split up.
Yeah.
So since there's 3 administrative staff on there, so if you're looking on there, so at the positions,
Yeah.
so executive director, office manager, and project coordinator, all of those expenses are going to be in the administrative wages and salary included in there.
I'm not seeing.
3 up to these 2, so you're
The one up
here.
here?
Yeah.
And then
So you split them, so we never see that.
Yeah.
the total wages, correct me if I'm wrong, it's all the administrative staff plus the union wages, right? So like the 1.3 you see down here, part of that is. If you add up the 2 wages lines and then subtract out the number at the bottom here, that the less of that's gonna be union wages.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So that concludes the reading of my budget message. Cindy, do you mind taking us to the next agenda item?
Sure. Reading of the budget message is done. Number 4 is initial review of the budget fiscal year 26-27. It's the last page of your packet. Hand it back to Amy.
Great, thank you. Okay, so again, the unallocated beginning fund balance is 1.3 million. Restricted funds is 255,000, which brings us to a total beginning fund balance of $1,555,000. Fair and contract revenue is $412,000. Federal grants is $3,395,000 and $586,000. State grants is $2,589,048. Property taxes is $230,000. Other tax revenue is $47,000. There's no bond and other debt revenue. The interest income is about $60,000. Other miscellaneous revenue is expected to be $10,000, bringing us to a total of $8,298,634. All right, so that brings us to requirements. And so the administrative full-time employee equivalent count is 3 individuals. Wages is $289,963. Employer tax is $34,078. Benefits $10,486. Total personnel services is $334,527. Materials and services underneath administrative. Building expenses $75,000. Office supplies $20,000. Professional fees $142,862. Other administrative expenses $13,400. With the total materials and services cost of $251,000 or $251,262. None under capital outlay, with the total administrative being $585,789. For operating, there's a full-time employee equivalent count of 21 employees. Again, there's some part-time employees included in that. So personnel services, wages is $1,363,636. Employer tax $172,450. Benefits $225,286. And the total personnel services is $1,761,372. Materials and services. Fuel $300,000. Vehicle expenses $362,000. Operation expenses $60,920. Driver expenses $20,000. Advertising and marketing $17,500. Grant contract and match distributions $216,975. The total materials and services under operating as $977,395 with 0 capital outlay, and a total operating of $2,738,767. And our non-allocated capital outlay is $3,226,286. Debt service 0, contingency $800,000. Reserve for future expenditure is $947,792. With a total not allocated of $4,974,078. And then the total requirements brings us to $8,298,634. Hate that part. So many numbers.
So this is hopefully the new structure going forward with the
Yeah.
capital outlay down in the bottom.
That's
Yes.
exactly what I just did. Just gonna ask you that. So this is the new structure and this is gonna be.
Yeah.
Okay,
And that's where bus purchases live, basically.
Bus purchases and any property
Okay.
developments, the facility developments.
so the development of barn. Okay.
Yeah.
Property but development.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
And again, if you're ever curious of just trying to remember how much we're allocating to each project, I did include that breakdown in the message.
In the
so-
message.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That also has the match requirements part of there as well, which I
You
think is
went
important.
1 minute over.
Well, we still got to do the
Gotta do something.
yes. First, is there anything else that you guys want me to look into or bring to you at the next budget committee
No,
meeting?
I felt like I understood. As much as I could.
So,
No.
Ryan?
Nope.
Jim? Matt?
I really like that you are being more realistic on that. The word spending authority keeps, or the phrase spending authority comes back to my head. Is it worth just investigating? Are we potentially limiting what we can spend or without having to create a special budget by trying to be more precise instead of just saying, oh, well, we could spend 10 million, even though we think we'll only get 3. That's my only like slight hesitation. And I don't know the answer. I would hate to have us in a situation where it's like, we can get more money, but we can't actually spend it without
So
going through a special budget.
maybe work
Yeah.
on that question for the next meeting.
Yeah, I can work on that, and
Mhm.
hopefully by the next meeting, maybe we might have a consultant on board
Okay.
for those development projects, so that
Yes.
they might be able to help me with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's like in the weeds of budgeting. I don't know.
In the weeds.
That's stuff.
Tamara? Anything else that you would like me to work on for the next budget committee meeting?
You've done a great job, very thorough, very informative, and I appreciate that. And I think the questions expanded on what you did, so I'm good.
All right. Sounds good.
What was her
Thank you
question?
so much.
What was her question?
No question.
Oh, I thought she said.
I think Jeremy had to hop off, which is
Oh,
maybe what
Say
that
goodbye.
chat came from.
No,
I'm sorry.
once again, a lot of information, very
Yeah.
clearly presented.
Yeah,
Yes.
Thanks for all
It
your
is.
clarifications on our questions, because I look at this one
Oh,
here
my
and I go,
God.
what?
And a tight ship run.
Of course. Well, I appreciate you guys willing to chat, and you have really insightful questions, which is really great too. And thank you for asking all the questions. And I think we just have to do the close
recess
us
the
out.
meeting
Yeah,
at
recess.
6:34. Whoever's taking minutes at 6:34 until May.
May 28th, I believe.
I don't remember. Do you remember?
I think it's my daughter's birthday. Let me just double check.
No,
It's not. I have a baseball game that day.
That's good.
27.
27.
At
May
5 p.m.
27.
Just busted your excuse
2026
there. Huh?
at, did you say 5 p.m.?
5 p.m.
5 p.m. All right. Aye.
All right.
Right now,
What are we voting on?
meeting.
Meeting recessed
Continuing the
until,
meeting.
adjourned.
yeah.
Good, Amy.
It
That's
is?
really, really
Thank
good.
you,
say that
Amy.
there.
That's
What?
why I find
Meeting is
the
adjourned.
budget committee.
Seeing ya.
You're just sure.
Same seat. Okay.
Wouldn't change it.
Already called it.
All right.